close your eyes now and let your body sink deeper into your pillow. Deeper and deeper still. Feel the weight of the day melting away from your shoulders like warm honey, dissolving every tension, every worry, every thought that kept you restless. Tonight, you're going to let go completely. Tonight, you're going to surrender to a story that will carry you into the most blissful, restorative sleep you've had in weeks. Listen, do you hear that? The gentle patter of rain beginning to fall against your window. But this isn't just any rain. This is the beginning of something extraordinary. As your breathing slows in through your nose and out through your mouth, let that rainfall transform in your mind. It's no longer falling on your bedroom window. It's cascading down the tall pine trees of a remote mountain wilderness, drumming against the weathered roof of an isolated cabin where two strangers are about to discover something that will change them both forever. The storm is building outside, but here, in this moment, you're perfectly safe. Your muscles are releasing, one by one. Your jaw unclenches. Your forehead smooths. Your hands fall open beside you as you prepare to be transported to a place where desire burns hotter than any fire, where passion strikes like lightning, and where two souls find shelter from more than just a storm raging outside. Let the thunder roll through your consciousness now. Not jarring, but soothing, like nature's own lullaby calling you deeper into the story. Feel how your heartbeat is already beginning to match the rhythm of the rain. Slow, steady, peaceful. You're drifting now, floating on clouds of anticipation, ready to discover what happens when two people who've never met are thrown together by fate on the stormiest night of the year. Picture yourself in that cabin now. You can almost smell the rich scent of aged wood and dying embers in the fireplace. The air carries into pine and something else, something warm and inviting. Vanilla? Cinnamon? It's the scent of comfort, of home, of somewhere you've never been but somehow recognize. This is where our story begins, in a place between wakefulness and dreams, where anything is possible and everything is about to change. Your breathing is getting slower now, deeper, more rhythmic, like the gentle waves of sleep lapping at the shores of your consciousness. You're almost there, floating in that perfect space between awareness and slumber, ready to experience something magical, something that will make your dreams tonight more vivid, more thrilling, more satisfying than they've been in months. The rain is your companion tonight, washing away everything except this moment, this story, this perfect surrender to sleep. Let it cleanse your mind of all the clutter, all the noise, all the endless chatter that keeps you awake. Tonight, there's only the storm, the cabin, and two people whose lives are about to intertwine in ways they never imagined possible. Feel yourself sinking now, not falling, but floating down like a feather on a gentle breeze. You're safe here. You're protected. You're about to witness something beautiful unfold in the warmth and shelter of a mountain cabin, while the storm rages safely outside. Let your body become heavy against your mattress. Let your mind become quiet and receptive. Let your heart open to the romance that's about to bloom in the flickering firelight. The thunder grows distant now, a gentle rumble that vibrates through your chest like a cat's purr. The rain becomes your soundtrack, your white noise, your pathway to the deepest, most restorative sleep. And somewhere in the mountains, as the storm reaches its peak, two strangers are about to meet for the very first time. Are you ready? Your journey into blissful sleep begins now. The rain is falling harder now, drumming against the windows of a rustic log cabin nestled deep in the Colorado Rockies. Miles from the nearest town, miles from cell phone towers, miles from anything that could interrupt what's about to unfold. This isn't just any cabin. This is a sanctuary carved from ancient pines, where time moves differently and hearts beat in rhythm with nature's own wild pulse. Picture the weathered exterior, logs darkened by decades of mountain storms, each one telling stories of passionate nights and whispered secrets. The wraparound porch creaks gently in the wind, its wooden swing swaying like a hypnotic pendulum, back and forth, lulling you deeper into this dreamscape where desire and destiny collide. Step inside now. Feel your bare feet touching the smooth, worn floorboards that have been polished by countless footsteps, countless dances, countless midnight wanderings of lovers who couldn't sleep for want of each other. The cabin embraces you with its warmth, wrapping around you like a lover's arms, protective and inviting. The great room stretches before you, dominated by a massive stone fireplace where orange and gold flames dance their eternal waltz. Listen to them, the soft crackle and pop of seasoned oak burning, releasing its sweet, smoky perfume into the air. The fire casts flickering shadows that play across the knotty pine walls like lover silhouettes, creating an atmosphere so intimate, so charged with possibility, that even the air itself seems to pulse with anticipation. Above the mantel, an antique mirror reflects the dancing flames, doubling their hypnotic effect. The glass is old, slightly warped, giving everything it reflects a dreamlike quality, as if you're looking into another world where passion burns brighter and love strikes deeper than in ordinary places. Thunder rumbles through the mountains now, not harsh or frightening, but deep and resonant like nature's own heartbeat. Each roll vibrates through the cabin's solid foundation, through the hand-hewn beams, through your chest where it mingles with your own slowing pulse. The storm is intensifying, but here inside, you're cocooned in warmth and safety. Rain streams down the picture windows that frame views of the dark forest beyond. Each droplet catches a firelight as it traces lazy paths down the glass, like tears of joy, or perhaps tears of longing. The windows fog slightly from the warmth inside meeting the cool mountain air, creating an ethereal veil between you and the wild world outside. In the corner, an old leather armchair sits angled toward the fire, its surface worn soft by years of use. A hand-knitted throw drapes over one arm, deep burgundy wool that looks softer than silk. On the side table, a half-empty bottle of red wine waits patiently, two glasses beside it catching the firelight like liquid rubies. Someone was expecting company, or perhaps hoping for it. The kitchen area glows warmly in the background, copper pots hanging from wrought iron hooks, their surfaces gleaming like burnished gold. A cast iron kettle sits on the vintage stove, steam curling from its spout in lazy spirals that dissipate into the cabin's heated air. The scent of cinnamon and cloves drifts from somewhere, perhaps mulled cider warming on the back burner, or maybe it's just the cabin's own intoxicating perfume. Upstairs, through the rustic railing of the loft, you can glimpse the edge of a bed covered in white linens that seem to glow in the reflected firelight. Fluffy pillows are scattered invitingly, and a thick down comforter is turned back as if waiting for someone to surrender to sleep or to something far more thrilling than sleep. The wooden stairs leading up creak softly, each step worn smooth and slightly curved by countless ascents made in darkness, guided only by moonlight and desire. Tonight, those stairs will bear witness to footsteps both hesitant and eager, to hearts racing with possibility. Back in the great room, Persian rugs in deep jeweled tones cover portions of the floor, their intricate patterns seeming to shift and dance in the firelight, their soft under bare feet, inviting you to sink down onto their plush surface, to stretch out before the fire like a cat in a sunbeam. The storm outside continues its symphony, wind howling to the pines like nature's own love song, rain pattering against the roof in an irregular rhythm that somehow feels more soothing than any lullaby. Lightning illuminates the cabin's windows for brief, brilliant moments, casting everything in silver relief before returning to the golden embrace of firelight. This is where our story truly begins. In this perfect sanctuary where two strangers are about to discover that some encounters are written in the stars, ordained by storms, and sealed by lightning that strikes not just the earth, but the human heart. The cabin door bursts open with a dramatic flourish, bringing with it a swirl of wind, rain, and the most captivating woman Gabriel has ever laid eyes on. She stumbles inside, breathless and laughing, her long chestnut hair whipping around her face like silk ribbons in a storm. This is Sophia, and everything about her screams adventure, passion, and the kind of wild freedom that most people only dream about. Watch her as she leans against a closed door, chest rising and falling as she catches her breath. She's soaked to the skin, her cream-colored sweater clinging to every curve of her body in ways that make the firelight seem to dance with extra enthusiasm. Water droplets cling to her eyelashes like tiny diamonds, and when she pushes her hair back from her face, the gesture is so naturally sensual it takes your breath away. "Holy shit," she breathes, looking around the cabin with wide green eyes that sparkle with delight and mischief. This place is incredible. Her voice carries a slight rasp from the cold, adding an unexpected smokiness that makes even the simplest word sound like an invitation to sin. She's not classically beautiful in the magazine sense. She's something far more dangerous. She's real, alive, electric, the kind of woman who makes men forget their own names and women wish they had her confidence. There's something untamed about her, something that suggests she's never met a rule she couldn't break or an adventure she couldn't handle. Sophia kicks off her soaked boots, revealing delicate feet with toenails painted deep burgundy, the color of wine and midnight promises. She peels off her jacket with movements that are purely functional, but somehow manage to be the most erotic thing you've ever witnessed. Underneath, her sweater molds her body like a second skin, revealing the kind of curves that inspire poetry and start wars. But it's not just her body that captivates. It's the way she moves through space like she owns it, the way she runs her fingers through her damp hair without caring how it looks, the way she approaches the fireplace with the confidence of a woman who's never doubted her right to warmth, comfort, and everything else life has to offer. "I'm sorry," she says, suddenly noticing that she's not alone. Her voice carries genuine warmth. But there's something else there too, curiosity maybe, or perhaps the faintest hint of challenge. The rental company said the cabin would be empty. I can find somewhere else to stay if... But even as she offers to leave, her feet don't move toward the door. Something invisible holds her there, studying this mysterious man with the storm-gray eyes and the kind of rugged handsomeness that belongs on movie screens or in women's fantasies. Gabriel emerges from the shadows like something conjured by the storm itself. 6 feet of lean muscle and barely contained intensity. He moves with the fluid grace of a predator who's learned to appear civilized but never quite managed to tame his wild heart. His dark hair is tousled, whether from sleep or from running his hands through it in frustration. She can't tell, but she can tell that those hands, God, those hands, look like they know exactly how to touch a woman. He's wearing faded jeans that hug his long legs and a black thermal shirt that does absolutely nothing to hide the powerful chest and shoulders beneath. There's something almost dangerous about him. Not in a threatening way, but in the way that promises he could show you pleasures you never knew existed and then disappear into the night like smoke. "Don't even think about leaving," Gabriel says, his voice carrying the kind of authority that makes Sophia's knees go weak. Not in this storm. Besides, he pauses, letting his gaze travel slowly from her face to her feet and back again. The look so thorough and appreciative that she feels it like a physical caress. I'd hate for you to miss out on what promises to be a very interesting evening. The words hang in the air between them, loaded with possibility and promise. Sophia feels her pulse quicken, feels heat bloom in her cheeks that has nothing to do with the fire crackling nearby. This man, this beautiful, dangerous man, is looking at her like she's the most fascinating creature he's ever encountered. "I'm Sophia," she says, extending her hand with a boldness that surprises them both. Sophia Rivers. Her last name rolls off her tongue like honey, and Gabriel finds himself wondering what would sound like whispered against his ear in the dark. "Gabriel Stone," he replies, taking her off her hand in both of his. The moment their skin touches, electricity arcs between them so powerfully that Sophia actually gasps. Gabriel's hands are warm and calloused. Speaking of work done with care and precision, artist's hands, lover's hands, hands that could worship a woman's body like a temple. They stand there for a moment, hands clasped, drinking each other in with the kind of hunger that has nothing to do with food and everything to do with the primal recognition of a perfect match. Gabriel's thumb traces across her knuckles in slow, hypnotic circles that send shivers racing up her arm and straight to her core. "Well, Gabriel Stone," Sophia says, her voice carrying a breathless quality that makes his name sound like a prayer or a curse. "It looks like we're going to be roommates tonight." She tilts her head slightly, studying his face with the intensity of someone memorizing every detail. "I hope you don't snore." Gabriel's laugh is rich and warm, transforming his entire face from mysterious stranger to devastating charmer. "I make no promises," he says, still holding her hand, still tracing those maddening circles against her skin. "But I can guarantee you won't be bored." The promise in his words, the heat in his eyes, the way he's touching her like he already owns her, it all combines to create a moment so charged with sexual tension that the very air seems to crackle. Sophia feels like she's standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down at depths that could either destroy her or transform her completely. This is how it begins, not with careful planning or dating apps or friend of friends, but with fate and weather and two people brave enough to recognize lightning when it strikes twice in the same place. The wine calls to them like a siren song. That bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon waiting patiently on the side table, its dark glass reflecting the dancing flames like liquid promises. Gabriel moves toward it with fluid grace, his fingers wrapping around the neck of the bottle with surprising gentleness for hands that look like they've known hard work and harder choices. "I think we both deserve a drink after battling that storm," he says, his voice carrying just enough roughness to make Sophia's pulse quicken. She watches the way his shoulders move beneath his shirt as he reaches for the glasses, the way the firelight catches the line of his jaw, the way he handles everything with the confidence of a man who knows exactly what he wants. "I couldn't agree more," Sophia replies, settling into the leather armchair with a grace that makes Gabriel's breath catch. She curls her legs beneath her, the movement causing her sweater to shift slightly, revealing the delicate curve of her collarbone. It's not intentional, or maybe it is. Either way, Gabriel finds himself momentarily mesmerized by the sight. The wine pours like silk, deep burgundy catching the light as it fills their glasses. Gabriel's hands are one, their fingers brushing for just a moment. But that moment stretches like eternity, electric and charged with possibilities neither of them quite dares to name yet. The touch lingers longer than necessary, neither wanting to break the connection, to unexpected encounters, Gabriel says, raising his glass, his storm gray eyes never leaving hers. To taking shelter from more than just the weather, Sophia responds, her voice carrying layers of meaning that make the air between them shimmer with anticipation. Their glasses meet with a soft chime that seems to echo through the cabin like a bell blessing their union. The wine tastes like midnight in velvet, warming them from the inside as they settle into conversation that flows as naturally as the rain outside. Gabriel claims a Persian rug before the fire, stretching his long legs toward the warmth, while Sophia remains curled in the chair like a contented cat, her eyes never straying far from his face. So, what brings you to the middle of nowhere on a night like this? Gabriel asks, swirling the wine in his glass, watching the way the firelight plays through the liquid like tiny captured flames. Sophia considers her answer, taking a slow sip that gives her time to study this mysterious man who somehow managed to turn her planned solitary retreat into something far more intriguing. I needed to remember what it felt like to be wild again, she says finally, her honesty surprising them both. My life back home, it's all schedules and expectations and playing it safe. I wanted to remember what it felt like to be dangerous. Gabriel's eyes darken with appreciation and something deeper, recognition perhaps, of a kindred spirit. And what about you? She continues, leaning forward slightly, genuinely curious about this man who carries himself like he's seen the world and found it wanting. I'm a photographer, he says, and suddenly everything about it makes sense. The observant eyes, the way he notices details others miss, the artistic soul hiding beneath all that rugged masculinity. I travel, capturing moments that most people are too busy to see. But lately, I've been feeling like I'm always on the outside looking in, never really living the moments myself. Their conversation deepens as the wine works its magic, lowering walls and revealing truths they rarely share with anyone. Sophia tells him about her corporate job that pays well but kills her soul slowly, about dreams of writing novels she's never found the courage to start, about relationships that felt more like business arrangements than love affairs. Gabriel shares stories of distant places and lonely hotel rooms, of sunsets photographed but never truly watched, of a life that looks adventurous from the outside but sometimes feels empty at its core. His voice grows softer as he speaks, more vulnerable, and Sophia finds herself drawn not just to his physical presence, but to the wounded poet she glimpses beneath the surface. The storm outside intensifies, as if nature itself is conspiring to keep them here, talking and drinking and discovering each other. Lightning illuminates the windows in brilliant flashes that momentarily bathe them both in silver light, making them look like figures in a dream, ethereal and impossibly beautiful. I should probably warn you, Gabriel says, setting down his empty wine glass and leaning back on his elbows. The position causes his shirt to stretch across his chest in ways that make Sophia's mouth go dry. I'm not very good at casual. Sophia feels her heart skip a beat at the admission, at the way he's looking at her like she's the most fascinating creature he's ever encountered. What makes you think I want casual? She asks, her voice barely above a whisper, but carrying clearly through the cabin's intimate space. The question hangs between them like a bridge neither is quite ready to cross, but both are tempted to explore. Gabriel sits up slowly, his movements deliberate and hypnotic, without breaking eye contact. He reaches for the wine bottle, refilling both their glasses with movements that seem choreographed by desire itself. This time when he hands her glass, he doesn't immediately let go. Instead, he holds it steady while she wraps her fingers around his, creating a moment of connection that sends electricity shooting up both their arms. They're closer now. When did that happen? Sophia has somehow moved from the chair to the edge of the Persian rug, close enough that she can smell his cologne mixing with it with smoke and wine, creating an intoxicating blend that makes her head spin. "Tell me something you've never told anyone," Gabriel says, his voice low and intimate, the kind of request that should feel invasive but instead feels like an invitation to intimacy she's been craving without knowing it. Sophia considers, then sets down her wine glass with trembling fingers. "I've never felt truly beautiful until right now," she admits, her honesty so raw it takes Gabriel's breath away. "The way you look at me, like I'm something rare and precious. I've never felt that before." Gabriel's response is immediate and involuntary. He reaches out, his fingers barely grazing her cheek, the touch featherlight but burning like a brand. "You are beautiful," he says simply, "breathtakingly, devastatingly beautiful. And not just your face or your body, though God knows those are perfect, but your spirit, your courage to come here alone, to seek wildness, to be honest about what you want." The compliment washes over Sophia like warm honey, and she finds herself leaning into his touch, craving more of this connection that feels deeper and more real than anything she's experienced in years. The storm outside reaches its crescendo, as if nature itself is orchestrating this moment between you two. Thunder rolls across the mountainside like an ancient drum, calling forth something primal and undeniable. The rain pounds against the windows with renewed intensity, creating a cocoon of intimacy around your shared sanctuary. You're sitting closer now than when the evening began. The wine has warmed your blood, loosened your inhibitions, and the stories you've shared have woven invisible threads between your hearts. The fire crackles lower now, casting dancing shadows across her face, highlighting the gentle curve of her cheek, the way her lips part slightly when she's lost in thought. She turns to look at you, and in that moment, something shifts. The polite distance that strangers maintain dissolves like morning mist. Her eyes, reflecting the golden firelight, hold yours with an intensity that makes your pulse quicken. There's a question there, unspoken but unmistakable. The same question that's been building in your chest all evening. "Listen to that storm," she whispers, her voice barely audible above the symphony outside. "It's like the whole world is trying to keep us here together." You nod, not trusting your voice. The space between you seems to hum with electricity more powerful than the lightning illuminating the sky. She shifts slightly, and her knee brushes against yours. Such a simple touch, yet it sends warmth radiating through your entire body. "I should probably," she starts to say, gesturing vaguely toward the small bedroom, but her words trail off. Neither of you wants this spell to break. Not yet. A particularly fierce gust of wind rattles the cabin windows, causing her to startle slightly. Without thinking, your arm moves around her shoulders, pulling her closer to your warmth. She doesn't resist. Instead, she melts into your side, her head finding the perfect spot against your chest. "You're safe," you murmur into her hair, breathing in the subtle scent of her shampoo mixed with the wood smoke that clings to both of you now. "I've got you." She tilts her head up to look at you, and suddenly you're drowning in those eyes. Her face is so close you can feel the whisper of her breath against your lips. Your hand, which had been resting innocently on her shoulder, slowly moves to cup her face, your thumb tracing the soft line of her cheekbone. "What are we doing?" she asks softly, but she doesn't pull away. If anything, she leans into your touch, her eyes fluttering closed for just a moment. "I don't know." You admit, your voice rough with emotion, but it feels right, doesn't it? She nods, barely perceptible in the firelight. "It does. It feels like this was supposed to happen." The storm chooses that moment to unleash another crash of thunder, so close it seems to shake the very foundations of the cabin. She gasps, pressing closer to you, her hand splaying across your chest. You can feel her heart racing beneath your palm, matching the rapid rhythm of your own. "Hey," you whisper, tilting her chin up with gentle fingers. "Look at me." When her eyes meet yours again, you see her own desire reflected there, mixed with something tender and trusting that takes your breath away. The moment stretches between you, taut as a bowstring, filled with possibility. And then, as naturally as breathing, you're leaning down and she's rising to meet you. The first touch of her lips against yours is soft, tentative, a question being asked. But when she doesn't pull away, when instead she sighs against your mouth and her fingers curl into the fabric of your shirt, the question becomes an answer. The kiss deepens slowly, like honey being poured. Her lips are impossibly soft, tasting of wine and something uniquely her. Your free hand tangles in her hair, silky strands slipping between your fingers like water. She makes a small sound in the back of her throat that sends fire racing through your veins. Time seems to stop. There's nothing but this. Her mouth moving against yours, her body warm and pliant in your arms. The storm outside forgotten as you create your own tempest here by the fire. Her hands slide up your chest to rest at the nape of your neck. Her fingers play with the hair there in a way that makes you shiver despite the warmth of the room. You pull back slightly, just enough to search her face, to make sure she wants this as much as you do. Her eyes are heavy-lidded, her lips already missing yours. The look she gives you is answer enough, but she speaks anyway. "Don't stop," she breathes, her voice husky with desire. "Please don't stop." This time when you kiss her, there's nothing tentative about it. Your lips move together with increasing passion, hands exploring the curves of her back, the slope of her shoulders. She tastes like forever, like home, like every dream you never knew you had. Her fingers work at the buttons of your shirt, and you help her, desperate to feel her skin against yours. When her palms flatten against your chest, you groan into her mouth, the simple touch setting every nerve ending ablaze. "You're beautiful," you murmur against her lips, and she smiles a real smile that lights up her entire face. "So are you," she whispers back, and then you're lost again in the sweetness of her mouth, in the way she fits perfectly against you, as if you were made for each other. The fire pops and hisses beside you, sending a shower of sparks up the chimney. The sound breaks with a passionate haze, and you both pull apart, breathing hard, staring at each other in wonder and growing desire. Her hair is mussed from your fingers, her lips swollen from your kisses. She's never looked more beautiful. Thunder crashes overhead again, violent and demanding, and she laughs, a sound full of joy and anticipation. Even the storm approves, she says, her fingers tracing patterns on your chest that make it hard to think straight. You capture her hand in yours, bringing it to your lips to press a kiss to her palm. "I want you," you admit, your voice raw with honesty. "I want you so much it scares me." Her eyes soften, and she leans forward to rest her forehead against yours. "I want you too. I have since the moment you walked through that door." The confession hangs in the air between you, honest and beautiful. Outside, the storm rages on, but here in this small circle of firelight, you found something precious, something worth protecting, something worth savoring. You stand slowly, extending your hand to her. She takes it without hesitation, rising gracefully, her eyes never leaving yours. The firelight plays across her skin, turning her into something magical, ethereal. "Are you sure?" You ask, because she deserves to be asked, deserves to know she has a choice. Her answer comes in the form of another kiss, deeper and more passionate than before. Her body presses against yours, and you can feel every curve, every soft line of her through the thin fabric of her clothes. I'm sure, she whispers against your mouth. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. And as the storm continues to rage outside, you know that whatever happens after the night, whatever complications the morning might bring, you'll always have this moment, this perfect, passionate, beautiful moment when two strangers became something more, when desire burned hotter than the cabin fire, when the storm outside paled in comparison to the one building between you. The night is still young, and there are hours yet before dawn, hours to explore this connection, to lose yourselves in each other, to create memories that will warm you long after the fire has died to embers. For now, there's only this, her in your arms, your lips moving together in perfect harmony, and the promise of passion yet to come. The kiss has left you both breathless, suspended in a moment that feels infinite and precious. Your foreheads rest together as you catch your breath, hearts beating in synchrony. The storm outside seeming to quiet in reverence for what's blossoming between you. The fire crackles softly now, its flames dancing lower but no less warm, casting a golden glow that makes everything feel dreamlike and perfect. She pulls back slightly, her eyes searching your face with wonder, as if she can't quite believe this is real. Her fingers trace the line of your jaw, gentle and reverent, sending shivers of warmth down your spine. You capture her hand in yours, bringing it to your lips to place a tender kiss on her palm, watching as her eyes flutter closed at the simple gesture. This is crazy, she whispers, but there's no regret in her voice, only amazement. I don't even know your last name. Does it matter right now? You ask softly, your thumb tracing circles on the back of her hand. Sometimes the heart knows what the mind hasn't figured out yet. She smiles at that, a slow, radiant smile that makes your chest tighten with something deeper than desire. You're right, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters but this moment. As if summoned by some divine intervention, a soft melody begins to drift from the old radio in the corner, a vintage piece you hadn't even noticed until now. The station must be playing late-night classics, and the gentle jazz that fills the cabin is perfect, as if the universe itself is orchestrating this evening. The saxophone weaves through the air like silk, complemented by the gentle patter of rain that has softened from the earlier torrent. Would you look at that? You murmur, glancing toward the radio with a smile. Even this old cabin wants to set the mood. She laughs softly, the sound more beautiful than any music. It's like everything is conspiring to make this perfect. You stand slowly, never breaking eye contact, and extend your hand to her with old-fashioned gallantry. In that case, may I have this dance, beautiful stranger? Her eyes light up with delight and something deeper, a recognition of the romance, the sweetness of the gesture. She places her hand in yours with graceful acceptance. I thought you'd never ask. You help her to her feet, and suddenly you're standing in the center of this small cabin, surrounded by the warm glow of firelight, with soft jazz creating the perfect soundtrack for intimacy. She fits against you perfectly as you pull her close, one hand resting on the small of her back, the other holding her hand gently but securely. I should warn you, she says with playful smile, I'm not exactly a professional dancer. Neither am I, you admit with a chuckle, but I don't think technique is what matters here. And you're right. As you begin to move together, slowly swaying to the rhythm of the music and rain, it doesn't matter that there's barely enough space to dance, or that neither of you knows any formal steps. What matters is the way she melts against you, her head finding its natural place against your chest, the way your bodies move together as if you've been dancing like this for years. The music wraps around you both like a gentle embrace. Her free hand rests over your heart, and you wonder if she can feel how it races whenever she's close like this. Your hand on her back spreads wide, feeling the warmth of her skin to the thin fabric of her blouse. Want to memorize every curve, every soft line of her. This is perfect, she whispers against your chest, her breath warm through your shirt. I can't remember the last time anything felt this perfect. You press a soft kiss to the top of her head, breathing in the center of her hair. Something floral and clean that mingles with the wood smoke clinging to both of you. I know what you mean. It's like the whole world has narrowed down to just this cabin, this moment, you and me. She tilts her head back to look at you, and the expression in her eyes takes your breath away. There's trust there and desire, but also something tender and vulnerable that makes you want to protect her from every harm the world might hold. What are you thinking about? She asks softly. Her fingers play with the collar of your shirt in a way that's both innocent and incredibly intimate. You answer honestly. How beautiful you are in this light. How right this feels. How I never believed in fate until tonight. She blushes, the color rising in her cheeks like a sunrise. You're gonna make me fall for you if you keep talking like that. Would that be such a terrible thing? You ask, spinning her slowly, watching the firelight play across her face as she turns. When she comes back into your arms, she's closer than before, her body pressed against yours from chest to thigh. No, she breathes, her lips inches from yours. I don't think it would be terrible at all. The song changes to something even more intimate, a piano melody that seems to be played just for you. Your dancing becomes even slower, more like an embrace that sways. Her arms slide up around your neck, fingers tangling in your hair, and you pull her impossibly closer, your hands spanning her waist. I keep thinking I'm gonna wake up, she confesses, her voice barely audible above the music. This feels too good to be real. If it's a dream, you murmur, your lips brushing against her ear, making her shiver. Then let's never wake up. She turns her face toward yours, and suddenly you're kissing again, softer this time, sweeter. It's a kiss that speaks of tenderness rather than urgency, of hearts opening rather than just bodies responding to desire. Your lips move together slowly, savoring, as you continue to sway to the music. When you break apart, she rests her head on your shoulder, and you continue to dance in comfortable silence. The storm outside is gentle to a steady rain, no longer violent but persistent, as if it too wants to give you more time together. The fire has burned down to glowing embers, but the warmth between you is enough to chase away any chill. Tell me something about yourself, you say, quietly, your lips against her temple. Something real, something that matters. She's quiet for a moment, considering. I used to think I was too practical for romance, she says finally. I believed in compatibility and common sense, and building relationships on solid foundations. But this, what's happening between you, it's making me remember that there's magic in the world too. You feel something shift in your chest, a recognition that goes beyond physical attraction. I know exactly what you mean. I've always been the careful type, the one who thinks everything through. But tonight, all I want to do is feel. And what do you feel? She asks, pulling back slightly to study your face in the dim light. Everything, you admit. I feel like I've been waiting my whole life for this moment, this dance, this woman in my arms. I feel like I could stay here forever and never need anything else. Her eyes shine with unshed tears, not sadness, but the kind of overwhelming emotion that comes when something beautiful happens unexpectedly. You're dangerous, she whispers. You make me want things I've forgotten I could want. What kind of things? You ask, though something in her tone tells you this is important, that she's sharing something precious. To be swept away, she says simply. To trust someone completely. To believe in fairy tale endings. She pauses, then adds a soft laugh. To dance in a cabin while a storm rages outside with a stranger who doesn't feel like a stranger at all. The honesty in her words moves you profoundly. You stop swaying and cup her face in your hands, looking into her eyes with all the sincerity you possess. You're not just being swept away. You tell her, you're choosing this. We both are, and that makes it even more beautiful. She rises on her toes to kiss you again, and this time there's gratitude in it, along with growing passion. When she settles back into your arms, you resume your gentle swaying, but now there's an undercurrent of deeper intimacy, of two people who are recognizing that what happened between them is rare and precious. The storm is calming, she observes, though she makes no move to step away from you. Are you disappointed? You ask with a smile. No, she says firmly, because I have a feeling the real storm is just beginning. The music continues to play, wrapping you both in its romantic spell, and you dance on into the night. Two souls finding solace and passion in each other's arms, while the mountain storm provides a perfect symphony for your slowly blossoming love. The dance has woven a spell around you both, creating an intimacy so profound that the very air seems to shimmer with possibility. As the gentle jazz continues to play, your movements become even more languid, more connected, until you're barely swaying now, just holding each other close, breathing in synchrony, hearts beating against each other like a secret code only you two understand. She lifts her head from your shoulder, her eyes meeting yours with an intensity that takes your breath away. In the golden firelight, she looks like something out of a dream, ethereal, beautiful, and completely present in this moment with you. Her lips are slightly parted, her breathing shallow, and you can see your own desire reflected in the depths of her gaze. I can feel your heart racing, she whispers, her palm pressed flat against your chest. The simple observation sends electricity coursing through your veins, because it means she's as affected by this closeness as you are. That's what you do to me. You admit, your voice rough with emotion. From the moment you walked into this cabin, you've turned my world upside down. She smiles, soft and knowing, her fingers tracing lazy patterns on your chest that make it increasingly difficult to think straight. Good, she breathes, because I feel like I'm drowning in the most beautiful way possible. The storm outside has settled into a steady rhythm now, like nature's own percussion section, providing the perfect backdrop for what's unfolding between you. The rain against the windows sounds like applause, encouraging, celebrating this connection that neither of you expected but both of you desperately need. Your hands, which have been respectfully positioned on her waist, begin to explore with reverent curiosity. Your palms glide slowly up her back, feeling the elegant line of her spine, the delicate wing bones of her shoulders. She arches slightly into your touch, a soft sigh escaping her lips that sound like music in the intimate space between you. You're trembling. You observe gently, though you're not sure if it's from nervousness or anticipation. So are you, she points out with a tender smile, her own hands beginning their exploration, fingers dancing along your collarbone, making you shiver despite the warmth radiating from the dying fire. It's true, your entire body feels electric, alive in a way you've never experienced before. Every nerve ending seems attuned to her presence, to the whisper of her breath against your throat, to the way her body fits perfectly against yours, as if you were designed for each other. The fire pops quietly beside you, sending a shower of orange sparks up the chimney, and the sudden light illuminates her face with golden radiance. In that moment, she looks like a goddess of flame and desire, and you're struck by the overwhelming need to worship at her altar. Come here, you whisper, though she's already as close as physically possible. But somehow she understands what you mean, rising on her toes to meet your descending mouth in a kiss that's deeper, more urgent than any that came before. This time, there's nothing tentative about the way your lips move together. This is passion unleashed, desire given form, two people surrendering to something bigger than themselves. Her mouth is soft and warm and eager, matching your intensity kiss for kiss, touch for touch. Your hands tangle in her hair, silky strands slipping between your fingers like liquid moonlight. She makes that soft sound again, the one that sends fire racing through your bloodstream, and her own hands grow bolder, exploring the contours of your chest, your shoulders, your back, like dancers following an ancient choreography. You move together toward the thick rug spread before the fireplace. The blankets and pillows you'd arranged earlier for comfort now seem prophetic, as if some part of you had known this moment would come, had prepared this altar for the sacred act of two souls becoming one. The transition is seamless, natural, like water flowing downhill. One moment you're standing, the next you're kneeling together on the soft wool, hands framing each other's faces, foreheads touching as you both struggle to catch your breath. Are you sure? You ask one more time, because even in the grip of overwhelming desire, her comfort and consent matter more than anything else in the world. Her answer comes not in words, but in action. She takes your hand and places it over her heart, letting you feel how it races beneath your palm. Then she does the same to you, her small hand warm against your chest. Feel that, she whispers. That's what certainty sounds like. The metaphor is beautiful and true. Your hearts are beating in perfect synchronization now, like two instruments finding harmony. It's as if your bodies already know what your minds are just beginning to understand, that this connection is rare and precious and meant to be celebrated. What follows is like a dance performed by candlelight, sensual and reverent and breathtakingly beautiful. Every touch is a question lovingly answered. Every kiss a promise made and kept. The storm outside provides a perfect symphony for your passion. The rain drumming against the roof, the wind singing through the trees, thunder rolling in the distance like nature's own applause. Time becomes meaningless. There are only moments. The moment when her breath catches as your lips find the sensitive spot where her neck meets her shoulder. The moment when your names become prayers whispered into the darkness. The moment when the last barriers between you dissolve like morning mist, leaving only truth and desire and connection, so profound it feels spiritual. The fire beside you burns down to glowing embers, but you generate your own heat now. Your bodies moving together in the oldest rhythm known to humanity. Every sensation is magnified in the intimate cocoon of the cabin. The softness of her skin, the strength of his hands, the way you fit together as if you were created for this exact moment. You're incredible. You breathe against her ear, and she turns her head to capture your lips in another deep kiss that tastes like wine and promises and forever. So are you, she whispers back, her voice husky with emotion. So are you. The passion builds like the storm that brought you together. Slowly at first, then with increasing intensity, until you're both lost in the tempest of your desire. Yet even at the peak of physical connection, there's something deeper happening. This isn't just bodies joining. It's souls recognizing each other, hearts finding their missing pieces. When the crescendo finally breaks over you both, it's with the force of lightning illuminating the sky. Brilliant, overwhelming, transformative. You cry out together, voices mingling like harmony. And for a moment the entire universe seems to pause in recognition of what you created between you. In the aftermath, you lie entwined on the soft blankets, skin cooling in the gentle air, hearts gradually slowing from a frantic pace. The storm outside is quieted to a gentle whisper. as if it too is spent from the passionate display. The fire has died to barely glowing coals, but the warmth between your bodies is enough to chase away any chill. She traces lazy patterns on your chest, her touch feather-light but electric. That was... She begins, then trails off, apparently unable to find words adequate to describe what just transpired between you. Extraordinary. You finish for her, pressing a kiss to the top of her head. Magical. Perfect. I was going to say life-changing, she admits with a soft laugh, tilting her head to look at you with eyes that shine with contentment and something deeper, something that looks remarkably like love beginning to bloom. That too. You agree, your fingers combing gently through her tousled hair. Definitely that too. Outside, the storm continues its gentle retreat. But here in your warm cocoon of intimacy and connection, you discover that some tempests are worth weathering. Some storms lead to the most beautiful clearings, and sometimes two strangers can find each other exactly what they never knew they were searching for. In the gentle aftermath of passion, a profound peace settles over you both like the softest blanket. The storm outside is quieted to a whisper, rain pattering gently against the windows in a rhythm that matches your synchronized breathing. The fire has burned down to glowing embers, casting the cabin in a warm, amber twilight that makes everything feel dreamlike and sacred. You lie intertwined on the plush rug, her head resting on your chest, her silky hair spilled across your skin like liquid starlight. Your arm encircles her waist, holding her close, while your other hand traces lazy, reverent patterns along her bare shoulder. Every touch is worship, every breath a prayer of gratitude for this unexpected gift the universe has placed in your arms. Listen, she whispers, her voice soft as velvet in the intimate darkness. The storm is saying goodbye. You strain your ears and realize she's right. The fierce tempest that brought you together is slowly retreating across the mountains, leaving behind only gentle rainfall and the occasional distant rumble of thunder, like a departing giant offering one last greeting before moving on to other adventures. It did its job, you murmur, pressing a tender kiss to the crown of her head. It brought us together. She lifts her head to look at you, and even in the dim ember light, her eyes shine with something beautiful and profound. There's a glow about her now, a radiance that seems to come from within, the unmistakable luminescence of a woman who's been truly cherished and adored. Do you really believe that? She asks softly. That storms can be matchmakers? Tonight, I believe in everything. You answer honestly, your fingers tracing the delicate line of her jaw. Magic, destiny, love at first sight, the idea that some connections transcend logic and reason. You've turned me into a believer in impossible things. She smiles, and it's like watching the sun rise. Good, because I need someone who believes in impossible things. My whole life, I've been so practical, so careful, but this... She gestures to the space between your hearts. This feels like the most important thing I've ever done. The vulnerability in her confession moves you deeply. You shift slightly so you can look directly into her eyes, your hand cupping her face with infinite tenderness. Tell me what you're thinking. What's going through that beautiful mind of yours? She's quiet for a moment, her fingers tracing abstract patterns on your chest while she gathers her thoughts. When she speaks, her voice carries the weight of truth spoken in sacred spaces. I'm thinking about how different I feel, she says finally. Not just physically, though that's part of it, but emotionally, spiritually. It's like you've awakened parts of me I've forgotten existed. I feel more myself than I have in years. What parts? You ask gently, genuinely curious about the woman in your arms, this mysterious angel who has transformed your night into something magical. The part that believes in romance, she admits with a soft laugh. The part that trusts completely, even when logic says I should be more careful. The part that knows, without question, that some moments are worth any risk. She pauses, her eyes growing dreamy. The part that feels utterly, completely cherished. Your throat tightens with emotion at her words. This beautiful, brave woman is giving you the most precious gift imaginable. Her trust, her vulnerability, her heart offered freely and without reservation. You vow silently to prove worthy of such a treasure. You are cherished, you tell her, your voice thick with sincerity, more than you could possibly imagine. You've given me something I didn't even know I was missing. What's that? She whispers. Hope, you answer simply. Hope that connections like this really exist. Hope that all the poetry and songs and stories about love aren't just beautiful lies. Hope that there's magic left in the world for people like us. She rises up to kiss you then, soft and sweet and lingering. It's different from the passionate kisses you shared earlier. This is gratitude made manifest, love in its purest form, the kind of kiss that speaks directly to the soul. When she settles back against your chest, you both fall into comfortable silence, listening to the rain's lullaby and the quiet crackling of the dying fire. Your hands continue their gentle exploration, not with passion now, but with the kind of tender intimacy that comes after souls have recognized each other. What happens tomorrow? She asks eventually, her voice carefully neutral, though you can hear the uncertainty beneath the surface. It's a question you've both been avoiding, the reality that waits beyond these cabin walls. In a few hours, the storm will pass completely. Roads will be clear, and the spell of this perfect night will be tested against the harsh light of day. I don't know. You answer honestly, your arms tightening around her protectively. But I know I don't want this to end with sunrise. Neither do I, she admits, relief evident in her voice. I keep thinking about my life back home, my job, my routine, and it all seems so gray now. Compared to this, compared to how I feel right now, everything else feels like sleepwalking. You understand exactly what she means. The thought of returning to your old life, of pretending this night never happened, feels impossible. How do you go back to ordinary existence when you've tasted magic? Maybe we don't have to decide everything tonight. You suggest gently. Maybe we can just hold on to this feeling, this connection, and trust that if it's real, and it feels more real than anything I've ever experienced, then we'll find a way to honor it. She nods against your chest, and you feel some of the tension leave her body. You're right. This is too precious to diminish with worry about logistics and practicalities. Tonight is about this, about us, about the miracle of finding each other in the middle of nowhere during the storm of the century. Speaking of miracles, you say, pressing another kiss to her hair, I keep thinking about all the things that had to align perfectly for us to be here together. If you'd chosen a different route, if I'd left an hour earlier, if that last cabin hadn't been available, don't, she interrupts gently, placing a finger over your lips. Don't think too hard about the what-ifs. Some things are meant to be, even if we can't understand how or why. This is one of those things. You kiss her finger softly before moving it away. You're absolutely right. Some gifts are meant to be analyzed, just accepted with gratitude. The conversation flows naturally from there, meandering through topics both profound and playful. You talk about dreams and fears, about the books that change your lives and the songs that make you cry. You share stories from childhood, confess your most irrational fears, describe the perfect lazy Sunday morning. With each revelation, the bond between you deepens. You discover that she collects vintage postcards and has an irrational fear of butterflies. She learns that you once wrote poetry in college and that you cry at animated movies. These small intimacies feel as sacred as the physical connection you shared. Layers of understanding building the foundation for something lasting and true. I have a confession, she says eventually, her voice taking on a slightly mischievous tone. Oh, really? You respond with playful suspicion. Should I be worried? I lied earlier, she admits, trailing her finger along your collarbone in a way that makes you shiver. When I said I wasn't much of a dancer, I actually took ballet for 12 years. You laugh, the sound rich and genuine in the intimate space. So you were just humoring me with that sweet, clumsy act? Maybe a little, she says with a grin that's visible even in the dim light. But it wasn't really an act. Dancing with you felt completely different from any dancing I'd ever done before. With you, it wasn't about technique or form. It was about feeling, about connection, about letting the music move through us rather than forcing our bodies to conform to some predetermined pattern. That's the most beautiful thing anyone's ever said about dancing with me, you tell her, touched by the poetry in her explanation. And probably the most beautiful thing anyone said about anything, actually. You bring out the poet in me, she admits softly. I never used to talk like this, think like this, but something about you, about this night, makes me want to find the perfect words for impossible feelings. As the hours drift by in this cocoon of intimacy and connection, you both begin to feel the gentle pull of exhaustion. The emotional and physical intensity of the evening, combined with the hypnotic sound of diminishing rain and the cozy warmth of your entwined bodies, creates the perfect conditions for the most peaceful sleep either of you has experienced in years. I'm getting sleepy, she murmurs, though she makes no move to separate from you. Stay, you whisper, your arms tightening around her. Sleep here with me. Let me hold you while you dream. Promise me something, she says, her voice growing heavy with approaching sleep. Anything. Promise me that when I wake up, this will all still be real. Promise me you'll still be here, and I'll still feel this connected to you, and the magic won't have disappeared with the storm. Your heart breaks a little at the vulnerability in her request, at the fear that this perfect night might prove to be nothing more than a beautiful illusion. You press a long, tender kiss to her forehead, pouring all your certainty and devotion into the gesture. I promise, you whisper against her skin. This is real. We are real. And what we found together is a kind of magic that only grows stronger with time. Satisfied, she settles more deeply into your arms, her breathing gradually evening out as sleep claims her. You lie awake a little longer, watching the play of dying firelight across her peaceful features, marveling at the trust she's shown in falling asleep in your arms, grateful beyond words for whatever cosmic forces conspire to bring this angel into your life. Outside, the storm has nearly passed, leaving behind only the gentlest whisper of rain and the promise of clear skies ahead. But here in your warm nest of blankets and love, the only weather that matters is a perfect calm that comes from two hearts finally finding home. The first whispers of dawn creep through the cabin windows like shy visitors, painting the walls in soft shades of pearl and rose. The storm has passed completely now, leaving behind a world washed clean and sparkling with possibility. You wake slowly, naturally, your body instinctively aware that something precious is ending even before your mind fully comprehends the approaching farewell. She's still sleeping peacefully in your arms, her face serene and beautiful in the gentle morning light. Her hair spills across the pillow like liquid silk, and her breathing is deep and even, the rhythm of someone who has found perfect peace. You lie still for long moments, memorizing every detail of her face, burning this image into your memory like a photograph you'll treasure forever. The morning air carries the fresh scent of rain-washed pine and the promise of clear skies ahead. Through the windows, you can see droplets of water clinging to glass like diamonds, each one catching and fracturing the early sunlight into tiny rainbows. The world outside looks reborn, transformed by the storm's passage just as you've been transformed by this magical night. She stirs slightly in your arms, a soft sigh escaping her lips as she begins a gentle journey back to consciousness. Her eyes flutter open slowly, like a flower blooming in time-lapse photography. And when her gaze finds yours, she smiles with such pure contentment that your heart nearly stops. "Good morning, beautiful," you whisper, your voice husky with sleep and emotion. She murmurs, stretching languidly against you like a contented cat. "Is it still real? Are you still here?" "Still real," you assure her, pressing a soft kiss to her forehead. "Still here, still completely enchanted by you." She snuggles closer, clearly reluctant to let the morning intrude on your intimate cocoon. "What time is it?" You glance toward the windows, noting the quality of light filtering through the clean glass. "Early, maybe 6 or 7. The storm's completely past." The reality of that statement hangs in the air between you like a bittersweet melody. No more rain drumming on the roof. No more wind howling through the trees. No more excuse to stay hidden away from the world in this perfect sanctuary you created together. "I can hear birds singing," she observes, and indeed, the morning chorus is beginning outside, a symphony of chirps and trills that speaks of new beginnings and fresh starts. "The world is waking up," you say gently, your fingers combing through her sleep-tousled hair. "And I suppose we should too." But neither of you moves to get up. Instead, you lie there in the growing light, holding each other close, both reluctant to break the spell that has sustained you through the night. The morning feels fragile somehow, as if moving too quickly or speaking too loudly might shatter the magic you've woven together. "I don't want to go," she admits finally, her voice small and vulnerable. "I want to stay here with you forever, in this cabin where time stopped and magic was real." Your arms tighten around her protectively. "I know, I feel the same way. But maybe that's what makes this so special. The fact that it can't last forever. Maybe some gifts are meant to be perfect precisely because they're fleeting." She lifts her head to look at you, and you see the wisdom in her eyes alongside the sadness. "You're right. If we could stay here forever, it might lose its magic. Some things are too pure for the ordinary world." The conversation that follows is tender and bittersweet, filled with promises and hope. You exchange phone numbers, addresses, email accounts, all the mundane details that will allow you to stay connected across whatever distance the morning might bring. But more than that, you exchange promises of the heart. "I'm not ready to say goodbye to you," she tells you, her fingers tracing patterns on your chest as if trying to memorize the feel of your skin. "Not to what we found together." "Then don't," you suggest gently. "This doesn't have to be goodbye. This can be see you soon. This could be the beginning of something beautiful rather than the end of something perfect." She smiles at that, the expression transforming her face with hope and possibility. "I like that better. Much better." You help each other dress slowly, each movement deliberate and savored. She borrows one of your sweaters when she can't find her own, and something about seeing her wrapped in your clothes makes your chest tight with emotion. Even these simple domestic moments feel sacred when shared with someone who has touched your soul so deeply. Over coffee made from supplies found in the cabin's small kitchen, you make plans. Tentative at first, then growing bolder as you both realize that what happened between you was too precious to abandon to fate and hope alone. She lives 3 hours away, far enough to make spontaneous visits difficult, but close enough to make regular ones possible. I have vacation days saved up, she says thoughtfully, stirring sugar into her coffee. I could come visit next weekend, if you'd like. I'd like that very much. You assure her, meaning it with every fiber of your being. In fact, I can't think of anything I'd like more. The morning passes too quickly, as precious things always do. You walk outside together to assess the storm's aftermath, and the world that greets you is breathtaking in its pristine beauty. The air is crisp and clean, washed free of dust and pollution by the night's torrential rains. Every leaf, every blade of grass seems to sparkle with moisture and possibility. It's beautiful, she breathes, taking in the panoramic view of mountains and forests that the storm's passage has revealed. Like the whole world has been given a fresh start. Just like us, you suggest, slipping your arms around her waist from behind and pulling her back against your chest. She leans into you with perfect trust, her head resting against your shoulder. Just like us, she agrees softly. But eventually, practicality intrudes on your mountain paradise. The roads need to be checked for debris. Vehicles need to be dug out, and both of you have responsibilities waiting in the world beyond these woods. The time has come to leave your sanctuary and return to reality. Though you're both determined that the connection you forge will survive the transition. Promise me something, you say as you help load her overnight bag into her car, which has miraculously suffered no damage from the storm. Anything, she replies, and you can hear the echo of the same promise you made to her in the depths of last night's passion. Promise me you won't let the ordinary world convince you that this was just a fantasy. Promise me you'll remember how real this felt, how right we were together. She stands on her toes to kiss you, soft and lingering and full of promise. I promise, and you promise me the same thing. Promise me that when you're back in your regular life, dealing with work and routine and all the things that make magic seem impossible, you'll remember that some connections transcend logic. I promise, you vow solemnly. How could I forget? You've changed everything. The actual goodbye is both harder and easier than you expected. Harder because you're genuinely reluctant to let her drive away, to watch this perfect interlude come to an end. Easier because you both know with absolute certainty that this is not really an ending at all. It's a transformation, a metamorphosis from something perfect but temporary into something lasting and real. You stand in the cabin's doorway, watching her car navigate the winding mountain road until it disappears around a bend, taking your heart with it, but leaving your soul full of hope and possibility. The silence that follows isn't empty. It's full of promise, full of the echo of her laughter, full of plans and dreams and the absolute certainty that love, real love, has found you at last. As the sound of her engine fades completely, you close your eyes and let yourself sink back into the memory of the night just past. And as you do, you feel yourself beginning to drift, beginning to float on the current of beautiful recollection back toward the realm of dreams where all perfect love stories continue forever. The cabin grows quiet around you, but it's not empty. It's full of magic, full of memory, full of the lingering warmth of two souls who found each other in the storm and discover that some connections are strong enough to weather any tempest. And now, dear dreamer, as you follow these lovers back into the realm of sleep and possibility, let yourself be carried by their story into your own peaceful slumber. Let the memory of their passion warm you. Let the tenderness of their connection soothe you. Let the promise of their lasting love guide you into dreams where your own heart's desires wait to unfold. Sleep deeply, sleep peacefully, and know that somewhere in the mountains, love has triumphed over loneliness. Connection has conquered distance, and two hearts beat in perfect rhythm, keeping time for dreams that never end. Close your eyes now, and let the gentle rain of memory carry you home to the place where all love stories live forever, where every ending is really a beginning, and where the storms of life always lead us exactly where we need to be. Sweet dreams, and may your own perfect love story be waiting just beyond the next bend in the road, just past the next mountain storm, just inside the next cozy cabin where hearts recognize their missing pieces and souls finally find their way home.